So we're live now.
We good?
All
right. Yahanna Shabbat Thumb, Yahanna Shabbat Bashim Yahshai. All right, tonight we are DC scripture breakdown and / law class. All right, so we're gonna get into the practical knowledge, you know what I mean, and give you the breakdown that you could take to the street, you could take to your classes. Any questions you have, definitely ask them. All right. Tonight for sure. I know that story came last week or a week before with this young brother and they try to make him a sexual predator and all that type of stuff. So when I'm seeing, you know, how people's different reactions to it, right? People's different reactions to how it's going, to what was supposed to be done, what was done, what was not done, and you know, it's definitely a good teaching point, a focal point. To reflect what's going on in our communities and our societies. You know what I mean? For those of you who may not be familiar with it, we definitely gonna play that story or just read the story, put the picture up with both of them. I don't know how far the copyright goes with these things, but we're gonna get into it, and it lends to a much deeper issue that we have amongst our people. All right. Let me know if there's any questions online. All right, let me know if there's any questions in the class. Let me know if there's any questions online, and we just take it from there.
No questions
all right.
Online right now, sir.
No sweat. What number we have up?
We have.
Give them the number.
The number to call in is 202-989-1950. 202-989-1950. I'm going to put it in the chat.
You need somewhere to put? Yeah. You got to put it right behind this oil thing here. I don't believe they have a holder just yet.
Okay, come on.
I think he's looking for a holder for that situation. You could twist you could put it at an angle. It's fine. I think that's all. Just keep it as straight up as you can. No sweat. It's up to you. All right. And that should be enough. All right. You run the number again, huh?
The number is 202-989-1950.
Right, 282-189. Say it again.
1950.
1950. Okay, so now you have that story. Pull up the picture of them, please. Y.K. Osiris and this girl Yahanna. Suki with the good, you know what? Right, and that I'm telling you straight up, that ain't nothing good with that thing at all. There's nothing good about it, nothing good in it. It ain't good. All right, it just ain't good. So let's pull up a picture. The brother gonna pull up a picture with them. I'm not sure if you could play the video. The video would be very, much more preferable, but I ain't trying to get the thing flat. But you could definitely pull up a picture of them both, and you'll be able to see who I'm speaking about for those who may not know.
The kiss or just side by side?
Side by side for now. We're going to get to the part of, I wouldn't call it a kiss, but, we get to the part of the infraction. I talk like them district attorneys now. We're going to get to the infraction in a second. All right. Let me know once it's up on the screen too. Because we might have to start to incorporate this screen here a lot more. Especially on Wednesday with the second computer, all right? With the HDMI and everything like that. We had to figure out a way to do it so I could actually see what you see. Maybe I could see it right here too. Yeah. Wait a second. Are we good? Okay, no sweat. So, right, so now everybody know who this is, right? Young brother Y.K. Osiris. He had a hit song, a few years ago. And now this girl, I don't know how young she is, but she's an internet personality that made her name by being as lewd and as, for the streets as much as she could be, right? She done made, took that reputation on, in the worst way, right? And, it again, for both of them, it comes from a background of being abused. It comes from a background of being, molested. You get the point? It comes from that type of background, that type of unsafe household that unfortunately some of us have grown up into, that type of unsafe environment when you're growing, where there's no protection from predators, right? And when there's no protection from predators, what's up?
No.
Oh, it's up? Right. When there's no protection from predators, you create a whole new being in the person you victimize. You create somebody who goes from one extreme to the next. It's like a pendulum, right? Or a spectrum. You create somebody who, because of the violation, associates the violation or associates the action with love or emotion, and then proceed to now seek it and embody it. Do me a favor, Kaga, you could take off this fan right here. This one time. Yeah. I told what right? They now seek to validate it through seeking that type of emotion and attach themselves to people who are, who would be attracted to that type of person. I'm trying to say word it in a way where everybody would understand. But basically, someone who's been violated, they either become very, very promiscuous, very, very loose about sex, very, very loose about sexual activity, very loose about how they portray themselves. Their image has changed. Their image could become very, very extreme in terms of trying to attract that type of attention from every and anybody, or they become extremely violent in an attempt to defend themselves from future predators. And that extreme violence could go from, you're going to get your young disenfranchised youth, whether male or female, who become prime candidates for, life in the street or gangs, or going into the church. You get the point? They go into the church. In the church, you would find them both, right? In any facet of society, you'd find them both. You'd find them both in the church, in the schools, in the gangs, everywhere. You're going to find the extremely violent who will not let anybody violate them, and you're going to find the extremely passive or the promiscuous who damn near flips the violation. So instead of this should not happen to me, it's now I want this thing to happen. You get the point? And that's the two sides of it, really, when something like that happens to young people, right? And the situation there with them both is damn near spot on with it. It's like they're both victims of being abused as children, right? He is the passive one. She is very promiscuous as well, but he also on the man side, he is that type. And okay, in the promiscuity, you will have variations of it. You're gonna have the person who is almost like a predator with the sexuality, almost like that. They're hunting using it. And you're going to find many, especially women who, take on take that position. In the promiscuity also, you could also find that weak, effeminate type of man, or that type of sister who is just, used to the thing and will never ever complain. And he falls into that too. He falls into that whole situation. So now you have some, I don't know what it was on, some talk show or something like that, some comedy show or something, and he comes up to her, and first he talks to her. They're talking back and forth. Now she has a persona of being very loose and doing all sorts of, vile things. I wouldn't recommend to anybody personally. There ain't no law against it. Do your thing, but I wouldn't be sharing a drink with you. I'll give you a special cup. You all remember them old school? You might go by your grandparents' place. It's like, no, don't use that one. Use the other one. That's why. Because they think you put in your mouth somewhere, ain't got no business putting it. You get the point? So they start talking, and of course, she's keeping up the persona. She's keeping up the persona of, I'm super sexualized, oversexed. Direct all your lust to me. That's the persona she's keeping up. You get the point? You can find a picture of her too. All right, like a separate picture as I'm talking about her. When I switch them, just find a picture of him. All right, or even some video clip of her doing whatever. No, not whatever. Salaki. A video clip of her just all right, and she starts talking to him in a very lascivious type way and saying how he can't handle her and she'll break him. Even that is for a woman is like, usually men talk like that. And depends on the man who talking. It could sound violent. It sound like, nigga, you bugging. When a woman talks like that, it's because she's taken on that man's spirit. She's taken on that, now she's the conqueror, which is why I say inadvertently you become a predator. Just you using your sexuality to do it. You're not using strength and physical power, which 9 out of 10 times is how the first violation happened. Now you use the power you have, which is what? A man's weakness, his lust. You get the point? That's what you use. A man's weakness, his lust, or the society being oversexed. So most men in the world, of course, is full of that lust. So you could get close to somebody. You could attract certain people around. So she's talking to him in that manner. I'm going to break you. I'm going to do this. You ain't ready for me. You can't handle me. And of course, simple as he could be, because he's just full of lust. Like 90% of our people out there just full of lust and can't be patient and don't have discipline. Now he decides to entertain her back. And somehow in the talking, he makes his way over to her. He gives her one of them passive hugs over the shoulder. He no permission to touch. He just went ahead and give her the hug, and then he proceeds to kiss her on her cheek. She did nothing about it. Then he came back a second time and he grabbed her head and twisted it and kissed her. And then he looked around. He looked around like laughing, like this is what we do, but there's only men around, which is this. I mean, you see the video. You could damn near cut apart that whole video. It's only men around. The whole scene was like, this was familiar to him, with one loose girl and men around, and he's coming and doing whatever he wants to do, which is really what happens in our society. And that there just played out on the big screen when that happens in bathrooms, in school, in high schools, and sometimes elementary school. Get the point? That's what plays out there. That plays out in your church. That plays out at the sleepover. You get the point? Those things play out because he look around and he laugh and he laugh and he step back, then he goes back in again. He goes back in again and turns her face again and kisses her on the mouth. Now, mind you, this is a girl who talks about putting her mouth on a man's, rectum. I think that word's safe, right? I don't know. It's medical. It's medical for the TikTok people. It's a medical fit term. But she decides now she's gonna put her mouth on where he eliminates from, and she makes a song. Eat N words point of elimination. Eat a N words point of elimination, and supposedly it's a song that caught on. I don't know. I ain't sure too much. But if she's saying that and she's you gotta assume she's doing it, and you decide to open mouth kiss this bro just because you're close to a loose, promiscuous woman, okay, not only you are a predator, but there's also a lot of abuse that both of you all is displaying at that point. And the reason I wanted to get into this is because this is in our society. This right here is in our society, and it's in 90% of your celebrities, if not all of them. It's in the majority of your friends and your family. It's in that thing. There's something insanely weak. Let me just let you know straight off the break. YK Osiris was absolutely dead ass wrong for doing that to that girl. It doesn't matter if she's naked. It don't matter if she dressed like a stripper. It does not matter. The power, especially for a man and a black man at that, the power to say la is something very strong. Be able to reject something is masculine. to be able to turn it down. That's a very masculine thing where now you're choosing. When you do accept, you're deliberate in accepting it. It's not what she had a fat ass. It's not the alcohol. It's not, well, we was just in the vibe. It's not that. When you do decide to accept, it's because you deliberately did this thing. When you lose masculinity, you become so feminine and so passive that anything can go, and that's what happened. He did that. None of the men who were a lot older than both of them checked either of them. You get the point? Where you at now with it? You was able to get a video of it?
I got the still picture of her on stage with her face.
Okay. Well, that's enough of that one.
I only had it for like 10 seconds.
So no problem. If you could get the one where he grabbed her face. All right, that one where he grabbed her face, that one is absolutely, he's wrong for it, right? Even though she presents as somebody who is, loose, even though she presents as somebody who is promiscuous, even though she presents as somebody that, you can do this too, and nothing will happen to you. You should never, ever do that to any woman, whether she's black, white, I don't care, alien, it doesn't matter. That there is absolutely weak. It's a weak position to take. You're not a man. You're emasculated. You're effeminate. You're not masculine. Added to that, now you could add on to that the predator, the rapey vibes, what else the other stuff they say? Whatever they say about it. I get the rapey vibes. He this, he that, whatever. He creeped me out. Add that to it. But the root of the problem is that you are so weak, you cannot decide. You cannot make that decision. And making that decision is everything about your masculinity. Right. The ability to judge, that's really what it is. To come in a situation and make a judgment on here or there or nothing. That's where your masculinity lies. But you have lost your masculinity. And this is something that pervades our society because of all the abuse that both men and women face growing up. Now, that's Yahanna. She's for sure a harlot. She's for sure a harlot. But this girl here has been abused herself badly, very badly. And that definitely doesn't give him the right to do any of those things that he just did. He is weak for it. He's definitely a predator. But more so, he's not a man. He's not masculine. Right, and I want to say he's not a man, meaning he was not raised as a man. He's a child. He's that victim who was himself molested. He's that victim who was himself abused. He's that victim that he's just passive to whatever seems sexy. You get the point? Like for the life of me, and especially in this season we're in with the sexual operations and stuff like that. Does he even know if that's a woman? How does he even know? But he decides to put his mouth there. There's all kind of diseases, man. Syphilis, herpes. God damn it, Negro. There's all kind of shit. What's the other one they had the other day with the COVID? There's something them sodomites was getting in their mouth with the COVID. It had buttons and all kind of shit over them. Monkeypox, goddamn. All that is going on, but you're not thinking about that because all you're thinking about is the pleasure you could derive from this easy person. Right. If you cannot turn down things, you are a feminine man. Right. Your masculinity is your ability to now decide, to now choose, to now make a choice. Give me in the Apocrypha, one daughter is better than another. All right. You get me in the Apocrypha, one daughter is better than another. But you had something I saw you was looking at.
Constant. There was a question online, and the question was like, says, how about thus, like, sir, if I could get a quick summary breakdown on the story of Tobias, if I could, watch, sir. Okay. I'll try to get it for you. Yeah, go ahead, please.
In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 36, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
A woman will receive every man.
Say it again.
A woman will receive every man.
Do you have a picture up? All right. Read it one more time.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 36, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
A woman will receive every man.
Right. Go ahead.
Yet is one daughter better than another.
Right. A woman will receive every man. What's another word for every?
All.
Any. Well, not all, but any. Like that's the point of this thing here.
Right.
Any. It really didn't matter who was there for her. YK Osiris would have kissed any woman. He's like her. You understand? He's lost his masculinity. He's not looking at her and be like, I'm walking past here hoping she don't see me, so I don't have to take a photo up with this whore. You get the point?
Right.
Like there was once a time men would do that. Men would, even in the world, I don't even want to be seen with this thing here.
Right.
But he's not there because he's just like her. He's receiving every person.
Right.
It doesn't matter with him. And he looked like he'll receive men too.
Yeah.
Until it's straight up and down. He looked like he'll receive a man too. If the pressure is on enough, he'll just, well, whatever. Right? He'll go take a long draw on a blunt and blame it on the blunt. Say he was high. But he looks like he's not capable of holding himself to a higher standard. You get the point? Read one more time.
Verse 21. A woman will receive every man. Yet is one daughter better than another.
Right? Yet is one daughter better than another. What does that part mean? One daughter is better than another. What does that mean? Yet is one daughter better than another. Go ahead, Art.
So just to keep the simple, another woman has morality, is shamefaced. You know what I mean? Has respect for her father, respect for herself, respect for her nation. And that would make her better than a woman who is without those things.
Okay. Yes. There's still a little bit more. You don't forget that rule, all right? You'll make sure you'll keep that attendance. Huh? Okay, there's okay. And because it's better, then what?
Because it's better, then
and what's next? Because it's better. A woman will receive every man. If she's receiving every man, what is she not doing?
Giving herself to.
What is she not doing? If she receive every man or any man, that's what every man would mean. If she receives every man, what is she not doing? No, is she going to turn away all? Okay, if she receives every man, there's something she's not doing. Go ahead.
Brother online, also Mashamar.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that when a woman will accept any man, but some make better decisions than others.
Some make, okay, I'll take that. What she's not deciding, that's why she will receive every man. You get the point? She's not making a decision. She's not deciding this. Yet, one daughter is better than another. One daughter is better than another. What's happening? The man is making that decision. He's now choosing. That's where you want to be at all times. You want to have that choice. If you're not in a position where you're going to have that choice, and I'm talking in context here, of course, but really in everything. If you're not putting yourself in that position, when I say putting yourself in that position, in the spirit, your spirit's supposed to always be, this is a deliberate thing. I'm not just doing something just because it's hot outside, or I'm doing something because it feels good. This drink feels good, or that you're more in control of what's going on. That's a masculine trait to have. he did not have that there. He was more like the woman who would receive any man. You get the point? And that makes for a weak man, and that makes for a man who will violate you. That's the other part of it. That man who will violate you, who will hold your face and twist it and kiss you in front of everybody or fondle you in front of everybody and do it again and again. His spirit is now effeminate, like a woman's spirit, where he can't say like, I don't want this, I want that. I don't want this one, I want that one. Just to be able to do that, you have to be masculine. Sisters are very indecisive, by nature. It's not a fault of women, but that's how you are, because somebody is supposed to tell you what to do. Somebody's supposed to say, you should do this, you should do that. If you indecisive, in your moments of being indecisive or not sure, you should have somebody to give you surety. You should have somebody to make that decision for you. But of course, because we done been so destroyed, we don't have that person who gonna make that decision. So she goes out and becomes Sukiana. You get the point? Now Twitter decides for her. Her fans decide for her. The oppressor decides for her. And that's that. But he should definitely have not ever gone down that road. And you should never go down that road either. You should be in way more control of yourself. Absolute more control of yourself, and never, ever, ever put yourself where now, well, I just had to. It's Sukiana. Like, I don't know what the hell he thought he was. He done kissed every Negro's behind that she done did what she said she was doing in that song. And to him, this is what? Something great? Like, you couldn't just say, good song, girl, and give her, a high five or pat on the shoulder, see you doing your thing and keep it moving. He has to violate her because, of course, that's the culture. And that's what was done to him. That's what he does. That's what he does. And now all your music and all your, wonders you did before, now everybody's going to know you as the chump who tried to force a whore. Like, think about how low you have to be in your spirit and your element or your ether, whatever them conscious people say, where you have to force a whore. Like, something's desperately wrong with you. Something's absolutely wrong with you, and it's not masculine at all. Give me the scripture one more time.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 36, verse 21. A woman will receive every man. Yet is one daughter better than another.
Yet is one daughter better than another. Give me Give me 1 Corinthians 6 and 15. All right, give me 1 Corinthians 6 and 15.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 15.
15 and 16, please.
Verse 15. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them the members of an harlot?
Right, so read that one more time.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 15. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ?
So he's asking a rhetorical question. You don't know that your bodies are the members of Christ, like you make up the body of Christ. You part of something that this is not you anymore. You part of something that's far greater than you, far bigger, that's going to outlive you. Like you part of this nation who he's in charge of. Go ahead.
Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them the members of an harlot?
Right. Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them the members of a harlot? How do you do that?
By not choosing the woman that's better.
Exactly. Like you go marry a whore.
Right.
You go join yourself to a whore. Now, a kiss doesn't make marriage, but what he did there was just now this thing is following him. It's following him all over the place, and he didn't have to do it. The lesson for us is far worse is happening, like I said, in the school bathrooms, at the sleepovers, at the Sunday school, at the mall, Far worse is happening at the parties, the young people parties, and the what's called that thing, spring break.
Right.
Far worse is happening there, and it should not happen because you should be a man. You should be way more masculine than that, and you lack the masculinity to say, like, I ain't doing that shit.
Right.
You lack that masculinity to stand on it and be like, nah, this is wrong, this is right. Versus, well, it's whatever. It is what it is.
Right.
I ain't knocking it. It's on you. That's a very effeminate type of spirit. It's absolutely effeminate. And you're going to join yourself to a harlot. Go ahead.
God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 16. What? Know ye not that he which is joined to an harlot is one body?
Right. Don't you know that you join yourself to a harlot? No, you and her one.
Right.
You and her the same. What's the proof of that? STDs. It's the proof of that, which is what that white Osiris could have had, probably did get. I don't know. But that girl is, she's our sister, but she's dirty. That bro is unclean. She need a few 7 days. A few of them, and she to buy that in bulk, like in Costco, a case of 7 days. She's not clean. I'm trying to tell you, she's unclean. And for brothers in the world, you should have a very high standard. This internet doesn't make every broad seem clean to you. But without the Facebook and the damn Instagram, you would have to see her every day coming out the damn house, and she can't trick you with filters and lighting and the old ring light and the poses and this and that. She can't trick you with that. And another thing you're getting tricked with is the attention. You don't see 300 likes in your. This is how you internalize it in your mind. Well, she must be bad if so many people like her. When that ain't true. You just equate. You just in the same lust as them. You get the point? You're in the same lust as them, and you wouldn't understand what you get into until later on, when this thing done turn into something absolutely horrible for you. Absolutely horrible. You should have a certain amount, a certain standard for yourself, and never ever compromise on it. Right. Never compromise on it. Stand on it, and you're gonna have to be a man to do it. You're gonna have to be masculine. You're gonna have to be strong. It's a certain strength and discipline that makes masculinity. Why? Because to stand on your decision, you're going to suffer consequences. Right. Any decision you make, even the decision to not decide. The decision to not decide is still a decision. It's still a decision. You're going to suffer consequences for it. Right. So now to go through them consequences, you're going to have to have some sort of masculinity. This world wants you to look at masculinity as something toxic. It wants you to look at masculinity as something that's you too extreme, or it's old and archaic, or you dead, or you boring, or whatever. Because this world wants you passive for everything they put in front of you. That's really what it is. It wants you passive for everything, when your masculinity is damn near like a defense. Like, nah, that don't look right. I don't like that. Don't do that no more. Don't bring that here. That's a masculine spirit. Right. You get the point? That's you're making a decision now. This world does not like that situation. This world wants you to be open-minded. That's the best way. The open-mindedness is the opposite of masculinity. You get the point? And for sisters, you don't have to be masculine, but your father is going to be masculine, and he's going to give you to a masculine man. You wouldn't have to worry about masculinity. Children wouldn't have to worry about it because the fathers would be in the home. But now you see why there's such a push, such a war, such a fund of the budget that they use to fund this war on black men is ridiculous. To assassinate black men's character, to assassinate black men's spirit, that's an eternal war this oppressor has had on us for thousands of years. Right. It's to take away your masculinity, because once you're not masculine anymore, your nation is destroyed. Precept.
How can you spoil man's goods unless you first
give it to me? Mark 3:27, 3:29.
3:27.
Mm-hmm.
Mark chapter 3, verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods.
Mm-hmm.
Except he will first bind the strong man.
He would bind the what?
Bind the strong man.
What kind of man?
The strong man.
Exactly. That's the important part here.
Right.
And the strength here is not talking about physical strength.
Right.
The strength here is talking about that spiritual strength, that masculinity.
Right.
He don't have to, you notice he didn't say just bind the man. He said bind the strong man.
Right.
Like Osiris, this is, Salaki. This is not to beat up on him. This is an example, because what he did is what happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. These type of violations happen all the time, and it's because that's the spirit in this place, to be so like fluid. You be so fluid. That's why they have these words like what? Gender fluid. Say again?
The spectrum, sir.
The spectrum, yeah, gender fluid. You have what's the other word they use? I forget the other one. But that gender fluid is so, right on it. Because they want you to just be they want you to receive. They want you now to have the entire society has an effeminate spirit. Right. You get the point? It has an effeminate spirit. What's up, man?
No, he just had to be this.
Okay, no sweat. The entire society has an effeminate spirit, which is why every song on the radio is about women.
Right.
It's about how much she miss her and this and that, and even the YK Osiris, and he said he'll give her the world. Yep. I'll give you the world, baby girl. You don't. He said you ain't got to be perfect. Right. Well, that's why he kissed Sukiana. Right. What do you mean you don't have to be perfect?
Right.
Salaki, you better have some goddamn stance, some sort of level.
Right.
Like what am I getting with you for sex?
Right.
You got to be something. You got to be perfect in some way, some standard. But if you ain't even got to be perfect and you get the world, you're passive, you're effeminate, you're not choosing, you're not making a decision like, I'll never get with her. But see her, yeah, she could get, yeah. She could take my name. She could be associated with me. You get the point? That's a very masculine way to be. And it's going to translate throughout your whole life, where you able to now stand on things as they come across you. You're able to now guide your house, or guide brothers who you might have to watch over, or sisters who you watch over, or anything. Even on your slavery. That spirit is what, the Lord gave to Adam, of course, before Eve had him in the damn figure 4, right? That spirit is what, have dominion over everything, and to decide what goes where and what gets called this and what get called that. You're going to have to maintain that masculine spirit, because, brother, what's out here is very, very strong. It's absolutely strong. Where was that? Read that. Continue reading now.
Come.
Read it again from the top.
Come, sir. Mark chapter 3, verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house.
Go ahead.
Verily, I say unto you, all sins shall be forgiven unto the sons of man.
No, give me no, Saki, read it again from the top.
Come. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. Except
he would first bind the strong man. Right. And binding him is taking away a man's masculinity. Right. Taking away his ability to make a decision that he wants. Right? That's the first thing. You want to fix Black, Hispanic, and First Peoples society and community. You first fix Black men. Right. Like, it doesn't come from any other direction. It doesn't, the source of correcting our people doesn't come from anywhere else, right? You could make Black women millionaires overnight. Nothing would change. You could empower children. Nothing would change. As long as Black men are disenfranchised, our society is going to be destroyed. Case in point, that shooting in Chicago. If that sister had a husband, would that have happened? If she had a strong man, would that have happened? Break it down. Who she would have called instead of her son? She'd have called him. Before she made the call, what would have happened? See where you're at. Before she made the call,
I would think she wouldn't be in that situation
Break it down.
because her man would have given her guidance on if this were to happen.
Okay, you saying it nice. He would have given her guidance? What the hell are you talking about?
He would have told her what to do if X, Y, and Z would have happened, certain situations happen.
Okay, even that is not practical. Because you don't sit with your rib or your kids and run through every possible scenario because you can't. You would, okay, you know what I was fighting over? I had to call my Okada and do a whole, reconnaissance on this shit. Okay, I damn near don't even want to say it because this shit sounds ridiculous. Apparently, there was one more pork chop in the back. And they was fighting over who was going to get it. And that's what Captain Malcolm told me. You'll check Captain Malcolm out Friday, brother, on the Round Table of Truth. I believe he's going to talk to the either the man's sister or the mother's little sister. But they was fighting over that. That's what started the whole argument. You get the point? Come on with it now.
I'll say don't argue with no man.
Okay. Don't argue with no man. Now, how does that look? How does don't argue with no man? How does she learn that?
So like, okay, she would call, like as the situation came up, and like she in the heat of the argument. Okay, she not as disciplined, like she not bridled in all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she would call in the middle of the argument, and that even in the midst of that, he would say, why are you going back and forth with him? Shut your damn mouth.
Okay, well, that's one way. And she did call in the middle of the argument.
Right.
The problem is that 14-year-old can't tell her that.
Right.
You get the point? Right.
Because
she's not going to call, I don't know what to do. She's not going to call like that. She's going to call this nigga here, so and so and so. And the brother might be, what the hell is you doing? Right. So, man, get out of that place, whatever. Right. That 14-year-old can't tell her that because that's his mother. Right. You get the point? It's a trigger situation. Before the call, there's something that could happen if there was a strong man. But because there's no strong man, a pork chop spoil the house act. Damn. I said, Mark, are you sure it didn't even beef? He said, it's pork. Got beef over pork.
okay. Maybe I'm okay. I don't know. I might be reaching with this one.
Come on with it.
Usually, brothers know when he got that type of rib. And so it's like sometimes you be like, hey, look, when you go there, don't